Good evening to you. From Japan via London, David Sylvian.
Good evening.
And from Vancouver via Luxembourg, Nottingham and Kingston upon Thames, David Jensen.
And don't forget Atlanta, thank you.
Oh, I forgot about that, yes. We got some good music tonight on Roundtable. As always, this is brand new from Nick Lowe. Nick Lowe, and that's called Burning. It's a single that's coming out from a forthcoming LP that Nick calls Nick the Knife. Let's turn first of all to Robert Palmer for maybe a slightly more international view of that record than the rest of us would have.
I love the piano solo.
Yeah.
And the ambience of the jungle kit and all that. I couldn't hear the words.
Yes, and words are somewhat important to you, I would imagine, anyway.
I heard Ramada in.
No more commercials on this programme, please. Is Nick Lowe somebody who sort of figures fairly importantly in your sort of musical listening, or has he in the past?
Not at all.
Oh. Right, we'll turn to David Sylvian at that point then. David, did you enjoy that?
I liked the piano break as well, and I like the drums. I don't like Nick Lowe, as a rule.
Musically speaking?
Musically speaking, yes. That's about it.
Right. David Kid Jensen.
Yes.
We have too many Davids here. Can I call you Kid tonight? Is that all right?
Mr. Jensen, if you like.
Whatever.
Well, Mr. Jensen,
Yes.
What did you think of it?
Yes, I liked it a lot. I thought it was instant. Like most of his stuff is. I like the drum sound particularly. Only two of them actually made that record. He was on the program last night. This is how I know. But no, he's obviously does it because he loves music so much, and it's just the right length. It's only 2 minutes long. It's the kind of record that if you like, you want to play it again and again and again. No, I think it's good.
I think what it lacks in melody, it certainly makes up within in sort of feel and excitement.
Sure,
and everything.
yeah.
If people are interested, and all of you listening in America, actually Nick is about to rush off to an American tour starting on the 6th of February, and I do love the name of his new band, Nick and His Noise.
Oh, really? Oh, he didn't have a name last night.
Well, that's what they've decided to call it. Nick and His Noise. That's somebody from the Rumour. They're Martin Belmont, also Paul Carrick on keyboards, and Bobby Irwin from the Cimmarons along there with James Irwin. A good band, I think a good record, and a potential hit for him. Here's another one that is going to get a lot of headlines, I think. It's the Fun Boy 3 with Bananarama, and it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. I think we got the title now. It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. The Fun Boy 3 and Bananarama out on Chrysalis Records. And I'm glad to say that Linval of the Fun Boy 3 is actually now on a remarkably fast road to recovery following the attack that he suffered in a club just a few weeks ago. Let's turn to David Sylvian first. A band obviously of getting a lot of headlines, as I say, but yeah, do you like it?
I like the Bananarama side of it. I like the female vocals. I thought the Lowe vocals were a bit cliched, and it got sort of a bit boring about halfway through because nothing sort of happened.
Terry has a very mannered style of singing. It's quite distinctive, I think.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, his vocal was quite good. It's just the very low vocals, you know. It sounds like, again, the jungle, you know, rhythm thing, and that sounded a bit obvious. But it's not a bad track. Yeah,
a classic song from 1939. I see, we looked it up, actually. First recorded by James Trummy Young, who co-wrote it in 1939. Also been recorded by Nat Gonella and Joe Loss as well. Do you think, Robert, that the new version, Fun Boy 3, actually stands up to the classic recordings?
No, but I mean, I don't think that matters. The thing that I thought about it was that it sounded like there was no energy in it. You know, like all the parts were there, as if everybody learnt the parts, and it lopes along like this. But it sounds like everybody's, like the girls are stood with their hands behind their back, you know, la, 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 la. It doesn't sound like they're delivering this. Next.
Yeah. Did you hear their last hit? The Lunatics have taken over the asylum. Perhaps it sort of sets it up better, because it's really quite a moody thing. Kid?
Yeah, I liked the Lunatics enormously when I first heard it. I mean, right from the start, I thought it was a great record. And when I first heard this, I wanted to like it more than I did, because I didn't like it a lot, because the Fun Boy 3 are a band who I'd like to see do well, because as people and as musicians from the past, they have a track record which I like. But the more I hear this, the more I like it. If to compare the two singles, I like it less than the Lunatics. But like David, I like the Bananarama part of the record a lot. And I'm glad that Linval is on his feet again, and that Neville as well, who he had an operation recently.
They've not had a very lucky 1982.
Not really, no.
If you're interested in Bananarama, they have their own single coming out soon called He's Really Saying Something. That'll be
I would imagine that tune has a good atmosphere loud in a club, in a dance club, in the dark.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I just think it's amazing that you can get a classic like that and actually do it in a modern way, a new treatment. Fun Boy 3, by the way, Jerry Dammers, if you saw the NME poll, Jerry Dammers' most missed persons of 1981 were the Fun Boy 3, which I think is rather interesting. 5 to 6 on Roundtable with the music of After the Fire. I love the way it ends. Yes, After the Fire, a couple of years since they've had a hit record. That's a new single on CBS called Rich Boys. Kid Jensen, here's a rich boy commenting.
I wish. It's no, it's a very lively record, to say the least. I like all the sounds that were going on in the record, and I hadn't heard it before. It's a very catchy record. I think it has definite chart potential. It's one that I'm sure will get a lot of airplay.
Yeah, they're a good live band, After the Fire. I saw them at a couple of festivals, and they really do move around live. Yes, you're smiling through that, Robert.
Oh, yeah, I thought I wonder what the singer does like, incidentally.
Yes, I was thinking.
I thought it was a really good, tough pop arrangement. Really strong and catchy, the things. But I found the lyric, like that sour grapes kind of thing. It's like, you know, won't eat no caviar and all that business. But I thought it was, you know, a great pop song.
Yeah, certainly a hummable tune. A lot of synthesizers in there, David. Unusual synthesizers for the modern
Vulgar
day.
is the word. And terrible lyrics. I didn't like it at all.
Really?
No, not at all.
Not even the fun element that obviously went through it.
No, because it just, although it's very clean sounding and quite well produced, it's quite a dull record.
Right, that's the end for After the Fire. Their LP, which I'm sure David will be buying avidly in the near future,
Definitely.
is coming out in March. It's called Batteries Not Included. And they are out on tour in Europe at the moment.
Well, they have a sense of humour.
They do have a sense of humour. Right, here's our mystery record, the first one tonight, record number 4. Mystery record number 1 on the programme. I tell you, it's called Don't Talk, but first of all, David Sylvian will give us a blind sort of reaction to that record.
I don't know who it is. I haven't a clue. It could be one of a million people, because it's such a wishy-washy sort of song and sound. I don't know. I didn't like it at all.
All right, that's a quick verdict. Robert?
I think if it was Cliff Richard or Olivia Newton-John, I know it's not her, it'd be very likely to be a hit in America.
All right, we'll move on very quickly to Kid.
Yes, I thought of America too. I personally didn't like it very much. It had shades of something Christopher Cross might record, but the production maybe got in the way somewhat, but I didn't care for it that much.
Okay, here's the revelatory moment. It's Hank Marvin.
Oh!
Shocked looks all round. Yes, Kid, Hank Marvin sings.
Isn't that interesting?
Did you notice his
far
guitar?
off then.
That's right.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And there was the distinctive guitar lick in the middle there. Yeah. So anyway, back to you, Kid. Now, what do you think?
I'm amazed.
Lovely shocked faces everywhere.
No. I'm sorry, but I still don't like it very much. But you know, it may well do well in America, but I don't think it will be a hit in the UK, and it's not something I would play on my show.
Robert Palmer, you were saying about Cliff Richard, how close you were.
It's so funny, we don't talk anymore, you know.
The song actually written by Terry Britton.
The same writer?
Yes.
Well, then, I don't know about I don't think it would fit into the English pop market as it is at the moment, but maybe America.
An intriguing record, David Sylvian.
It's funny, because as the record was playing, I was thinking it sounded like somebody imitating Hank Marvin as opposed to being him himself.
Gentlemen, please put your headphones on, because on the telephone we have Hank Marvin.
You're kidding.
Are you there, Hank?
Hello, yes.
Jolly good. We're just putting our headphones on here for a second. Well, mixed reactions here, Hank. What's your reaction to the critiques?
Well, I've never liked critics very much. It's very interesting, actually. The writer, as you know, is Terry Britton, who didn't write We Don't Talk Anymore. That was Alan Tarney.
Well, of course, I know. I was just saying that to test you see. But he has written songs for Cliff, hasn't he?
He certainly has. He wrote Devil Woman, of course, and Carrie, and so on. It's interesting to hear your comments, guys. I hope you're all wrong.
So do I, Hank.
They're all looking a little bit embarrassed, actually. Well, this is from an LP coming out soon, I gather.
Yes, it is. It's from an album called Words and Music. The title indicating that, in fact, it's 90% songs. There's one instrumental on it. And we felt this was a good single. But, of course... I hope that we know more about it than you do.
Why did you decide to sing? I'm intrigued. After obviously you've got such a track record as a guitarist. Why did you want to start singing?
It's not the first time, though, is it? Actually?
No. Well, you know, we've been singing from way back, Kid. But the thing is, we had most of our success with instrumentals. But in this case, our ex-manager Peter Gormley, who still manages Cliff, suggested to me that I did an album, writing most of the material. An album of songs as against instrumentals. And this was about 2.5 years ago. And because of the commitment of other work, particularly with the Shadows, it took about 2 years to get the whole thing together in little bits and pieces.
Well, I must admit, I agree with the lads when they say about its American success possibilities, because I certainly think it's got an American feel to what you've done there.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I mean, you know, if it's a success anyway, it's a bonus, isn't it?
Absolutely. Are you going to be doing some live gigs?
Not solo. As the Shads, of course, we have our usual autumn tour of the UK coming up in September through to November.
Right.
I'll do some television on the album and so on. But at the moment, no live gigs as purely Hank Marvin.
Okay.
No.
Hank, thank you for talking to us and being a sport today. Everybody's still flabbergasted in this room at the moment. We'll move on. Thanks again, Hank. This is a new band now called Talk Talk. They come from London, and this is Mirror Man.
Follow
joined us. It's Roundtable with Richard Skinner here, Kid Jensen as well, Robert Palmer, and from Japan, David Sylvian. The music there provided by Talk Talk. It's called Mirror Man. I'll turn to you first, Kid, here, because I know that this is something you've been involved in a sense, hasn't it, the band?
Yes, I'm rather pleased that they made their Radio 1 debut on my show with a session several weeks ago. And it was amazing because a couple of nights after that, they announced that they had signed to EMI Records because the following day there had been, all the major companies had been onto them and were so impressed. And up to that point, they'd only done about 5 gigs. It sounded like some strange hype because
yes.
I got more letters about the Talk Talk session than any other session that I've ever broadcast. And I thought, this really is major hype at work here. But then they toured with Duran Duran, and again, I got a lot of response from people who had gone to see Duran Duran, had seen the support band, and were asking me to play more of Talk Talk. Now, about this single, I don't think this is one of their better songs. Some of the numbers from our session I thought were more obvious, but I think this will be successful for them because they have certainly a big following already.
Mark Hollis, who writes the songs, also sings, says he wants to write songs to last a decade, Robert. You know, I assume they don't last that long, but, you know, they'll still stand up in 10 years.
It's very ambitious.
Yes.
Very ambitious.
Do you think he's overreaching himself here, or what?
Well, as I said, I heard this last night, and it didn't make any impression on me at all last night. And listening to it there, I know why. The mix is awful. You know, I don't think it's bad, but
you were straining to hear the words there.
No, it wasn't the lyric. It sounds quiet, and I bet if you turn it up really loud, it still sounds quiet. The drummer's really going for it, and there's no there's no sensation of it, right? But the part he's playing is real strong, so it's probably good.
Yeah, somewhere. David Sylvian, have you met this lot before? Are you aware of them?
No.
First impressions then?
I quite like the song, actually. I think this, had it been produced differently, maybe a different arrangement, it could have been quite good. As it is, it doesn't offend me, but, you know, it should do, maybe.
I have to give a mention to producer Colin Thurston here, who put the record together. Is
he on the phone?
No, I don't think so. He probably will be in a minute. I like the twiddly bits of violins. That's what really got me going in that. And,
you know, maybe it's because the song was on their session. It was more immediate in our studio.
Because they knocked it with 4, like in, 2 or 3 hours.
That's right.
Just put it together. All right, I think they've got a big future anyway, Talk Talk. What else? Yes, Jonah Louie, a man with a big past, and let's hope he's got a big future as well. This is his new one. I think I'll get my hair cut.
I wish a girl would invite me to dance, but I suppose I don't stand a chance. They prefer to dance with their own handbags. I think I feel a little bit sad, but I think I'll get my hair cut, and then maybe I'll be in luck. That girl on the wagon train who said no when I moved in has just shot down another man dead. It must have been something he said, but I think I'll try getting my hair cut, and then maybe I'll be in luck.
Jonah Louie. I think I'll get my hair cut, and I'll turn to the man here with two-tone hair, which is David Sylvian. Did you like his haircut?
I didn't like it, but I can see the attraction it would have for some people.
What's that then?
It's a very Beatles-ish arrangement, and it's got a very nice... I think the production is very good. Some very nice sounds in there, but I don't particularly like it myself.
Okay, production work of Rupert Hine on this one, which caused one more astonished look across the table from Robert Palmer.
Yeah, well, I like the production a lot, and I really like Rupert Hine's material, his solo albums. But the song, I didn't think the song had any substance, and I was listening to the production. You know, it's a two-chord thing on a guitar it's like a novelty song, I suppose. But his other ones that he's done that I've heard that have been like that have had more...
A bit of a hook in there as well.
or a rhythm switch or something like that. That was a bit too okey-cokey, I think.
OK, maybe a good performance but lack of substance. Does Kid agree with this?
Yeah, when I heard it just then, I was thinking of Canned Heat and bits of like that same kind of
On the Road Again
insistent, sort of driving sound to it. And I think if the lyrics were a little more serious, I'm sure Jonah Louie's not very serious, but if the lyrics were more serious, it might be taken a little more seriously. But having said that, sounding like a footballer, but having said that, I think it'll still be a top 5 hit. I think the sound is good, and one of the best records that you've played.
Oh, really? Right. It reminded me of Acts Naturally, you know, Ringo Starr back with the Beatles years ago. There's an LP coming out soon from him as well called Heart Skips Beat. I disagree with you entirely. I think it's going to disappear without trace. And it worries me. Not such a nice man. Why are we arguing? Here's China Crisis. Oh, it fades in quietly, this one, by the way. Crisis, and that's called African and White, a three-piece band from Liverpool. And Robert Palmer just had a little bet with David Sylvian. He said, I'll bet you a bottle of champagne, and that's a female bass guitarist in there. So we went out and looked, and the names are Gary, Eddie and Dave. So
yeah, I think she's very pretty, Eddie.
having missed out on that, what made you think it was a girl playing the bass? Is there a distinctive feel of it?
Yeah, well, it was just something. I pictured the whole thing. It reminded me of Talking Heads a lot.
Yeah, have a look at the sleeve.
I just thought that's the setup they'd have. They'd have a drum machine and a girl bass player and stuff.
Tina was busy that day, unfortunately. Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I didn't mind losing the bet.
There was a record playing as well. Did you like the music?
Kind of. It was too derivative for me to enjoy it directly.
The members of the band, I think, are late teens, about 18 years old, and they've not been together that long. I think it's remarkably mature for a young band, actually. David?
I liked it very much. I think it's the best record played so far. Besides the obvious comparisons, which I think you can ignore, but, after the initial hearing, I think it's a really good song.
It certainly had me tapping my feet, even while you were having your bet over there, kid.
Yes, it was certainly an interesting record, and I'm fascinated by a sudden influx of Eastern influences on pop names and songs. I was making a little list, and apart from Japan, of course, there's China Crisis, there's Wang Chung, there's a new band that being formed out of the Psychedelic Furs called Junk. There's, I wrote another one. Oh, yeah, Yellow Pearl, with Philip Lynott saying, what is the fascination with the Orient? It's nothing to do with the Japan exhibition in Piccadilly, is it?
Well, David was in there first.
Yeah, that's right. What do you think it is?
Musically, it's fascinating because it hasn't been explored before, I don't think, by, bands over here or America or whatever. I think it's just a fascination. It's another sort of, it's looking for a new way out of, like, the material that's around at the moment. You get stuck in a sort of groove. There's so many influences you can pick up in England, in America, in Europe. And it's really nice that you can sort of look over to the East and start picking out influences from there and seeing where you can take them with a totally different attitude as the people living there would take.
Because you took Chinese music, didn't you, as a new basis for your Tin Drum album. But don't you feel when all these other bands with Oriental influences are coming along, you don't, doesn't that bother you in a competitive kind of way?
It just all depends the way they do it. I don't like people that do it for the sake that it's fashionable to do it. I don't think these do it for that reason, China Crisis or whatever. I think it's because they are genuinely interested in it.
It's a good one. Okay, well, talking of China, here's Wang Chung. reckon about the only Chinese thing in that is the title, China, Wang Chung. Much Chinese influence there, David, do you think?
Not that I can hear, no. This is what I was talking about bands picking up on things just because they're fashionable.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's the reason they picked up on the name, China, title China. Didn't like it at all.
Right, Robert.
No, I didn't care for it. There was too many elements that didn't come together and make a song. You know, it was like as if they were doing something different for the sake of it, and then it still had that big power chord, boom, 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 which is all a bit funny.
It certainly plodded along for its 3 minutes or so, Kid.
Yes, they're one of Simon Bates' favourite bands. I don't know if you know, but he frequently plays their records
in
the mid-morning. I didn't care for that a lot, but I heard Andy Peebles play a session from them a couple of Fridays ago, which was more interesting.
Well, if you'd like to see China Crisis and Wang Chung, they're playing the venue in London next Thursday. It's also China Crisis' first big gig, so good luck to them on that one. Time for one more before the news, maybe even a bit more. These are the Cimmarons, out on Paul McCartney's IMP label with a little luck. Here it is. First of all, on the LP London Town, Paul McCartney's song there, With a Little Luck. That's the Cimmarons. I'll give you a bit of background on this. Actually, the B-side is Peggy Sue, the Buddy Holly song, and both those tracks are from an LP coming out called Regability by the Cimmarons, featuring all McCartney and Buddy Holly material. Kid.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Cimmarons were the first reggae band I ever saw, and that they've been going here now for at least 10 years, and Paul McCartney has first indicated his interest in reggae music at least that long ago, so the two coming together works very well. It's not the kind of music, reggae, I would play in my program, but I think it will get airplay, and I think it'll probably be a hit.
Yeah, Paul McCartney's well behind this thing, and Linda took the cover photographs. Right, let's move on to... what do you think that it was... quite as good as it might have been? I just wonder whether it was as ethnic as he would have liked, actually, Robert.
I hate ethnic. I didn't like the original song at all. I used to tune it out whenever it came on the radio. But I thought that bass player was a magician on there. That's good for the body, that music.
OK, David Sylvian.
I thought it had a really nice feel to it. I think anybody that does a cover version of a song and makes it compete with the original is doing really well. I thought it was better than the original. I liked it.
OK, don't forget, everybody, that tomorrow is the 40th birthday of Desert Island Discs, and Paul McCartney is guesting on it on Radio 4. That's tomorrow, Radio 4, Desert Island Discs. The time on the wall is 6:30.
Radio 1 News. I left my home by the ocean. I left my love by the sea. Dreaming I could sing my songs in the city. I thought the streets of London would be paved with gold, but the only gold is in the setting sun, and these city nights are so cold. And you know that feeling when you've been too long and you want to go home, and it's so strong. I'm going home. I'm going home. Oh, the leaves are falling and the wind is calling, and I must get on the road. You'll be alone. You'll be alone. But if you're crying to the rhythm of the falling rain, it's alright. I'm on my way. I'm going home. I'm going home, yeah. Jilly, she's got a smile in her eye, and bed just right for two. Silly how much I love her, but I do. Sunny days will be here again, she whispered in my ear. Oh Lord, it's funny how much I miss the country rain. That's the sound I love to hear. And I know that feeling, and I've been too long, and I wanna go home, and it's so strong. I'm going
sitting in the corner, eating his Christmas pie, you know? The dude stuck in a thumb and pulled out a plum and said, what a funky boy am I. The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts. All on a summer's day. The King of Hearts, my man called for the tarts, and they just grieved and funked away. Yes, they did.
Aretha Franklin and Hold On, I'm Coming, a classic old song from the 60s. Robert Palmer, that lady has still got an amazing voice.
Yeah, what an offensive waste of talent. I don't want to say anything. I hated it.
Really? Oh dear, right, okay. We're going to get through these records in a hurry. David Sylvian.
It's a great song, and she's a great singer, but it was an awful arrangement of the song. It was really awful.
Why? Because it was predictable? Or?
It's just everything I hate about, like, the whole disco funk thing, you know? It's awful.
Arif Mardin was the producer. Kid Jensen, were you tapping your toes?
Yeah, with the right material, she can make your skin crawl because she has the best voice of all time for me anyway, and she's really excellent, but of course I have to agree, I don't have to, but I happen to agree that the song was, I just wouldn't play that ever again. I tell you what, there's a great disco record that I know you're not playing, but you might consider for next week by Hamilton Bohannon. Now that, I don't know if you guys have heard that, is brilliant. That is fantastic disco. So it's, although, you know, I think disco material gradually is getting a lot better than it was a couple of years ago.
He's Chris Franz's favourite drummer, you know, the drummer for Talking Heads.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so he styles himself after.
Interesting.
All right. Okay. Disco music, dance music, Depeche Mode. See you now.
Is a long time, and the times change, but I think that you'll find people are basically the same.
Depeche Mode. Whoops, Depeche Mode and See You. That's a new one out on mute. By the way, Robert Palmer does honour his bets, and he is now drinking the proceeds. I don't see how you're drinking it, actually, Robert.
No.
don't know that, doesn't matter. 20-7. Did you enjoy Depeche Mode?
There's something about that group that I like. I don't know whether it's the way they construct the tunes or the rhythm. There's something about, but that particular song I didn't care for.
Yeah, they're a very inventive group, or at least maybe their producer, Daniel Miller, is a very inventive producer. I don't know which. David?
I don't know either. I really like them too. I think like the first or the second single they had, I can't remember what it was called now. I really liked it a lot. No, the one that followed that.
Yeah, the one with the pussycat on the front cover.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I like them, and I did like
Just
that
can't
too,
get enough.
even though it wasn't as immediate as like previous material.
They're certainly good fun, I think. Sorry, kid, you're having a bit of a choke in the
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it's that Betty. Yes, I agree. I think the group are interesting. They had their first ever American gigs this week. They were in New York. They played it was a big night for them, and I think they did pretty well from the reports what we got back. The song, I think, could be a little bit stronger, but it gets more interesting, I think, towards the end as it builds up a little bit.
Doesn't quite have the verve of something like I Just Can't Get Enough or the other one. Anyway, good group, Depeche Mode. Hopefully they'll be doing a more lengthy British tour in the near future. While we're talking about live work, let's talk to this gentleman over here from Japan, David. Is Japan going to do any more live work? Because it's been a while, hasn't it, really?
No, it was Christmas.
I know, but it's ages ago.
If you say so. It seems like yesterday to me. Maybe the end of the year. I don't know. I really don't know.
Why the reluctance? Is it simply because it's so much hard work for little return?
It's not hard work. It's like a holiday. It's a very easy thing to do, but it's a very uncreative thing to do. So I really don't enjoy it that much, so I like to leave, like, a year between tours, if you like.
You're working at the moment now on a new album project, then, are you?
Singles, albums, yeah, with different people.
What do you feel about the re-release of old material? I know you were involved in European Sun.
It really all depends on what they decide to release. Because it's out of my hands, you know, I've no control in it. I can't say I like the idea of old material being released. It interferes with, like, what we're doing now, and it gives a lot of people the wrong impression of what we are actually doing. But as I said, it's out of our hands.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to the end of the year to see a new Japan tour on the road. A lot of people also who may have been wondering for a long time about whatever happened to a guy called Rod Argent, who created a good name for himself back in the 70s and 60s. He's back again with Barbara Thompson now on a song called With You.
Feel
That's called With You, a song written by Rod Argent, featuring Rod on voice and keyboards, Barbara Thompson on saxophone, and the drums of John Heisman, who also produced the epic. Kid Jensen.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it's the best song you've played on the program so far. I wonder about its commercial potential, but I don't really care, because if I don't get a promotional copy, I shall, if not buy the single, I shall get the album, because...
yes, it is a trailer for an LP.
Yes,
really.
I've always had a romantic vision of Brazil. I've never been. I've always liked to go, and that song just conjures up great nights on the Copacabana beach.
Yeah.
You know all about that, I guess.
Very interestingly, the LP is called Ghosts. I don't know why. What's the spirit of this place? I don't know.
Same title as David's new single.
Yes.
Yeah.
David, yes.
So
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did, very much. It's wonderful playing on there, and the Wonder influence.
Yeah, the slight Stevie Wonder voice there, yes.
But I liked it very much.
Robert Palmer, you were bopping to that.
Yeah, I like, it was... I'm always cautious with that kind of music, because I don't really like musical music, you know, when a player can play lots of notes and it's like... Blah, 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 blah. But
Yes.
that was really a nice arrangement, a nice mixture between the Latin thing and the... In fact, if it had been Stevie Wonder and all his inflections were right there, I don't think I would have liked it. You know, I'm perverse.
I think the nice thing about the record is that you can appreciate the playing on it, but apart from that, it just feels so good.
It flows
Yeah,
great.
it does.
It's a real three.
Nice one there. Right, that's Barbara Thompson and Rod Argent. Actually, while we're talking to you, Robert, what sort of British music do you go for? I mean, do you have any favourite groups or anything like that?
Well,
He's pointing at David.
Oh, that's sweet.
Really?
This group called DAF,
Yes, Deutsche Amerikanische
German.
Freundschaft, yeah.
Gary Newman. And
Who you've worked with, of course, Gary.
yeah. And Japan, those are the only things I listen to.
Well, that's nice. There's a flush coming to David Sylvian's cheeks as we sit here. What appeals, actually, to you about Japan's music? Because it seems a long way away from what you're involved in a sense.
Oh, no. I think it's modern soul music, you know? I mean, when we heard Aretha Franklin, like, she's supposed to be a soul singer, and they say that that's soul music. To me, that's absolutely academic, what she does there. That's the musical thing that I hate. But whereas when David sings, it's like, all you can hear is his emotive thing behind it. That's all you listen to. You don't say, oh, it sounds like this, or it's like this, or it's absolutely, it draws you into it entirely, you know, and that's what I like about the contemporary music like that.
You ought to get together sometime. It'd be a good idea. It's, well, I'll keep giving time checks. I'm not going to tell you what the time is. I'll just tell you that this next lady, Mary Wilson, is the pride of Neasden, and this is her new single, Beat the Beat.
Beat
Mary Wilson and the Imaginations and Beat the Beat certainly makes me tap my feet. David Sylvian.
It's not my style of music, actually. I find it very hard to comment on something like that.
It's quite unique, actually. It doesn't seem to fit into any particular style as such, although her original inspiration was Motown, I think. Explains the name.
I didn't like it, to be honest, but, well, I didn't like it.
All right. David Sylvian didn't like it. Robert Palmer thought...
I can imagine it being on the radio early in the morning when, you know, it's like one of those... La 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 la. It's that kind of music. It's transparent, you know. It's okay. It doesn't appeal to me.
They certainly look good. I was talking to Kid just now about a Riverside appearance that they did on television, and it's a sort of 12-piece thing with girl singers in the background and dancers and movement. And what did you think of the sound, Kid?
Yeah, I love the sound a lot. It reminded me of a soundtrack of one of those old Rita Tushingham, Lynn Redgrave movies, you know, in the 60s.
Right,
you know.
right.
And it was very up sound, and of course you wouldn't remember those, I guess, Dave.
Oh, no.
But no, I like the sound very, and I think the Breakfast Show is a good time for it. Although I've played it as well on my program, it doesn't fit into any category, but it's a nice up.
Yes, it's Bring Back the Beehive time, actually. Mary Wilson and
wow.
yes. If you want to hear more about Mary, she's on Rock On tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I'll be talking to her then. What am I doing? Oh, as well as hitting the microphone here, I'm also going to wave for this record. Here it comes. This is a new one from the Associates called Party Fierce 2. And I'll give you the time. It's 8 minutes before 7 in the evening.
I'll smash another cup. Please don't stop.
Vanity Fair's 2 from the Associates, who I remember from last year because they released a 12-inch single about once every 4 weeks during the summer, which was a pretty brave thing to do. Certainly a lot of slightly baffled faces around the table here. Kid, did you enjoy that?
Yes, I like the vocal acrobats a lot. I like the record. I don't quite know why I like the record, but it appeals to me. I heard Peel play it the other night, and it sounded good on the air.
It's quite schizophrenic almost, because it's like the vocalist is working in a different room to the guys doing the backing track.
Yes.
Yes, Robert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rupert Hines should have produced that, and then it'd have been a winner. I thought the lyric and the vocal was really fascinating. But the like la 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 background, I can't go.
The blander side of the record. Certainly quite a dark record in places, though, David. I think.
I liked it too. I really liked it because it was very unusual. I've never heard anything like that before. Again, I liked it for, I don't know why, perverse reason, I guess. The lyrics are very good, very uncommercial. I don't see why it's released as a single.
I think it's going to be a hit. I hope it is, anyway.
Good for you.
We have time for one more. By the way, the Associates were on Friday night, Saturday morning on BBC television last week, and Robert Palmer, you're on tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I just finished the rehearsal. I've got to go back and record it when I finish.
Rush back. Oh, you're giving away the fact it's on tape. I tell you what, while you're rushing back, I hope you're going to listen to this, perhaps. This is a lady called Nikki Wills from Chicago, USA, and I've got a feeling, Robert, you might recognise the song. We'll just let it fade up slowly and have a little listen.
Oh, very good.
Some guys have all the luck. Yes, what a coincidence. Robert Palmer, there's another version of a song that you're quite close to at the moment, I have a feeling, on a single.
Yeah, well, if I'd liked it that way, I'd have done it that way. I was just saying, I'd written, some guys have all the luck, and I thought it was mine. And I must have heard it, somewhere.
On the wireless or something?
Yeah, and so I didn't like the rest of the song at all. So I rewrote everything else and just kept the title so. And the bit in the middle I find absolutely hysterical, the bridge. Anyway.
Nikki Wills.
Good luck, Nikki.
Good luck, Nikki. Comes from Chicago, and she says her biggest musical influence is Taj Mahal. I think that obviously comes across in that recording. David Sylvian.
No, I didn't like it. I think that there is a better version going around at the moment.
It's a mutual appreciation society here tonight. Good Jensen, you're going to play that one in the evening, I can tell.
Yeah, I thought it was much better than Robert's. No, I didn't like it very much. It was very, very bland.
What about her voice? I thought she had quite a...
Oh, I love the tone of her voice.
So try again, Nikki, with another song. Right, Betty Bright and the Illuminations did a good one of it last year as well, the same song. It came out during the year. Hello, Betty, if you're listening. It's been Roundtable on this Friday evening. You've been hearing Kid Jensen, also Robert Palmer and David Sylvian. Hope you can join me on Rock On tomorrow night at 5. I've got some great stuff for you then. But now it's 7, and here's Andy.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard, and the Assemble Company for an excellent